All right, everybody. I'm so excited about this episode. Today, I have DeKesha Williams, who is the award winning business strategist, professional speaker, and revered as the webinar queen. She holds the esteemed position of CEO at Visions Enterprise, which is a leading force in the industry, specializing in empowering clients through groundbreaking lead and revenue generation development. Keisha, first of all, thank you so much for coming on the Automated Coach podcast. Well,
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So excited to be here. I
good.
get chills when they say award winning.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about you and who you serve. I said a little bit in your bio, but tell us more about you and what you do.
Yeah, so hello everyone. My name is DeKesha Williams, of course, the webinar queen. I pride myself on teaching entrepreneurs how to generate leads and consistent revenue in their business using webinars and workshops. But it didn't start that way. And so entrepreneurship was not something that I saw myself doing. Like it wasn't, oh, when I grow up, I want to be an entrepreneur, right? I actually entered into this space so that I could be available for my children. So I got two kids, two grown adults now. Oh my God. Like they're 25 and 19.
Oh,
But I really started the business serving entrepreneurs in this realm of individuals who felt like I did. People who wanted to be available for their family, for their loved ones, have flexibility. And I wanted to be able to be hashtag sideline money. Like my kids are athletes, okay? So I was doing a podcast and I was like, dang, I've got two D1 level athletes. So they both went to school on full scholarship. So if anybody knows about being a sports mom, it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of travel that goes into it. And so being an entrepreneur created the flexibility where I was able to make money and be at the game at the same time.
yes, that's terrific. And so, who are you working with in your business? Who is your target person that you work with?
So 90% of my clients are entrepreneurs who still work 8 to 5 or 9 to 5,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call it, right? But it's typically speakers, coaches, consultants, and authors. And something recently, I got a lot of vets that are coming into my space, women, female vets.
Interesting.
I know. I'm like, maybe I just shift my marketing or something. So, yes.
And why webinars? Why is that something that all of these people should be pursuing?
So when I left corporate America, I was a district manager for 13 locations over 5 states. So I covered Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. I spent a lot of time traveling back and forth in airports. As a matter of fact, my oldest son, I call him my bonus son. He's like, I remember you used to go to Salt Lake City all the time. So the fact that he remembers that confirms my story of doing it. Clearly, I used to be gone all the time. If he's
Right.
25 too, and he's like, I remember you used to go to Utah. And honestly, I was diagnosed with panic disorder
Mm.
in 2007, I believe. No, maybe it was a little later. Maybe it was like 2010 or something like that. And so I did for 7 years. I didn't realize what it was, and so I was diagnosed. I was able to go on a medical leave of absence. And, well, they went out of business, so I couldn't go get my job back,
Oh, no.
which is why I tell people I'm still on leave of absence. Hashtag long ever. Okay. And it allowed me the opportunity to find something else to do that didn't allow me to leave my home.
Mhm.
So now you go from a corporate America job where you're flying all around the world. Well, webinars gave me a platform where I could share my journey. I could help individuals from the comfort of my home. And so I came across a company back in 2013, and they had me teaching other entrepreneurs like how to make 6 figures using webinars. And I was like, okay, but the way my level of integrity is set up, I wasn't making 6 figures, Denise.
Right.
So I was like, I can't be teaching people this if I'm not making 6 figures in my business.
Right.
And so I brought it to their attention and they were like, all right, well, cool. Go out there and do 8 webinars. What? I was like, okay. So a colleague and I, we went out and we did 8 webinars and generated $15,000 in
Wow.
commission. And that was like a 40-60 split. So imagine if I didn't have to share the 60,
Right?
right? So imagine if I didn't have to share the 60, what would that look like? And so I started teaching people how to use webinars to build a 6-figure business. And I actually had a system that I use that helped me generate revenues. I felt a little bit better after
Right.
that.
I love that. And I love your integrity because way too often people out here in these internet streets are selling stuff and teaching stuff that they don't actually do for themselves. I love that if somebody is coming to work with you, they know that you've
Absolutely. Absolutely.
been through what they're going through.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that not only do I pride myself on that, it shows up in the level of confidence. When we talk, when we teach, it shows up in it comes through in what and how we show up, the level of confidence because that what you just said is a whole nother podcast.
Right.
Oh no,
Definition.
I love it.
Let's talk about
I digress.
yes. What what can you share for our listeners who are interested in doing webinars? Could you share 3 tips would help them as they try to grow?
Absolutely. Here's a thing that I'm realizing, right? As we are growing as entrepreneurs. And the first thing that I'm going to tell you is to be consistent. Now, I know. You hear it all the time. Consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. But let me give you a little context on it. So what I see in Dr. Denise, you might see this as well, right? What I see is entrepreneurs, they go out here and they try different things because they see or they try to funnel hack somebody and they're like, oh, I saw someone do a challenge. Oh, I saw someone do a summit. Oh, where they're doing webinars. I should do a webinar. And then you do it one time, maybe even twice. And then you say it doesn't work. No, you haven't given it enough time.
Yes.
Make it work. So you have to create the consistency. You have to do it multiple times. Even Russell Brunson in the Expert Secrets says do the same webinar 52 times. People look at me and be like, what? Yes, 52 times, my friend. My friends. So my number one tip is be consistent. Pick one thing,
Mhm.
to it, and consistently do it over and over and over and over again.
I can already hear the question coming from somebody listening to this. How often is consistent? Are you recommending they do that same webinar once a month, once a quarter, once a day? How often should they do a webinar?
Well, it depends on your goals. So let's talk about that. You can do a webinar every Thursday, to be quite honest. And mind you, when you hear this, when you hear me telling you this, I'm telling you to do them live first. I'm not telling you to automate them. I'm telling you to do every single last one of them live until you get into a flow where they're converting.
So
Okay.
important.
So you can do them weekly, you can do them bi-weekly. I'm going to be honest with you. If you do them anything over bi-weekly, you're going to see slow results. I'm sorry. But if you do them once a month, it's consistent and that's great. But unless you are putting a large amount of cash flow into marketing to make it a bigger launch, I think you need to launch more frequently. And yes, I call webinars launches. Some people don't. I call them launches. They're launch.
Mhm. Okay. So that's tip number 1, be consistent. What's your tip number 2?
Tip number 2 is test and tweak.
Say more about that.
So again, like I just said, we try it once, twice, maybe even 3 times, and then we're moving on to the next thing. No, let's stop for a second. Let's assess what worked, what did not work, and make small adjustments. So I'll give you an example. We have done the same workshop for 6 months consistently.
Mhm.
The first month, I changed the duration of the program. It went from 6 months to 12 months. It had nothing to do with the actual webinar presentation, right? The second month, I believe we changed the marketing. We changed the marketing to get more people to see the presentation. The next time I changed messaging, my messaging was off. You notice I still haven't said anything about the actual presentation.
Right.
So I think we missed the mark that when it comes to launching, that we have to assess the big picture. I think there was even a time that I adjusted some of the language on the registration page.
Mhm.
It wasn't until the fifth cycle that I actually changed the content of the actual workshop
Okay. So
on
good.
literally.
Mhm.
So there are so many KPIs that we do not
What
measure.
is that? What are those
Oh yeah, that's right.
random
I'm sorry.
letters?
Your key performance indicators.
Yeah.
That's the numbers person.
Right,
So,
right. And if they've
I
been
like to
listening, I
line.
mentioned KPIs. If you're listening, you should know what that is, but we'll
They
just
better know it.
yeah.
Let me know what that is. But yeah, so a lot of times our key performance indicators, we just go out here and we do something because we see that it's been done and it's working for someone else, but we don't know what their numbers are like on the back end side. We don't know what their show up rates, conversion rates, email open rates. These are all things that you should be looking at when you're launching. Just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. What I think is so important for our listeners to pay attention to is that she did not say in 1 month she changed the registration page, the sales page, the offer, the messaging all at one time. She made a change, made one change, looked at the results, then tried a different change, looked at the results. Because if you make 10 changes all at once, you have no idea what's working and what's not working.
Absolutely. You're very, 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 very true. Yeah. So you make small tweaks and then you how that tweak did. And then you look at the other KPIs, the other numbers, and then you say, okay, well, what can I do to increase my show rate? What can I do? I'll give you this is an extra tip or secret, right? One of the small tweaks that I did on the sixth cycle was I put a video on the confirmation page, literally explaining what I wanted them to do.
Mhm.
One of the highest shows rate,
Wow.
highest shows rate.
Excellent. And again, I want people to pay attention to the fact that is what worked for her. It might work for you. You don't know if it's going to work for you until you try it and test it, which is her whole point number 2. What's your point number 3? What's tip number
So point three is to do follow up. A lot of times that we do a webinar or workshop, whatever, you do a challenge, and then it's like, okay, I'm done. I'm moving on to the next. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Literally, conversion rates on webinars can be anywhere from 8 to 10%, right? On a live webinar, it can be like 5 to 8%. The numbers have changed recently. They're kind of going down, but you can pick up a larger percentage if you actually follow up. And I don't just mean email sequence follow up too, because the emails are kind of wonky, give or take.
Mhm.
But you still send them. You still send your email follow ups. But let me tell you, we've gone old school. Like when I first started in 2018 with webinars, I used to call every person that registered for my webinar.
Wow.
So I've hired someone on my team for business development to reach out to every person that attend the workshop. Like we go old school. And I'm doing voicemail drops.
Mhm.
I'm doing emails. We doing SMS, DM reach out. I want to make sure that I'm following up with the individuals. And we've converted a very large percent of additional clients just by following up or having a follow up call on the back end.
Oh, that's so important. Could you share a bit about what's happening on that follow-up call? Is it just, did you enjoy the webinar or is it going right into a pitch for the offer? What's that call that live person is making for you?
My call is a little bit unique and they're not accustomed to it because actually I have a call before the workshop and then I do a call after the workshop too. And they're like, I'm not used to this. I thought it was a training. But the call before the workshop gives me an opportunity to meet them and get their personality. I know that everyone is not for me, and I know that I'm not for everyone as well.
Mhm.
So it gives me a great opportunity to have a conversation pre workshop. But after workshop, it's like a feedback. And so it's a matter of, so listen, number one, did you enjoy the workshop? Did you enjoy the webinar? What was the biggest takeaway that you had? What do you plan on implementing in the next 45 to 60 days? How can I support you on that in 45 to 60 days? And so it doesn't come across as a strong sale.
Mhm.
It's more of how can I serve you? And if you stay to the end, you heard me talk about my offer. Does that sound like something that will be a good fit for you? And to be honest with you, when they come on that call, they know whether or not they're ready to take that step.
Right.
It was so funny. I think around the third or fourth cycle, I was doing a follow-up call with a young lady. And as soon as she got on, she goes, DeKesha, I'm going to sign up for the mastermind. I'm like, so what do I say now? How's the weather? So what are you doing this weekend? So the calls that you want to close on, right?
Right.
Because once you do your pitch on the webinar and then you call and follow up, know whether or not they're ready to make that step. And a lot of times, here's the other thing too. A lot of times they have clarifying questions.
Mhm.
You use the clarifying questions to enhance the FAQs or to address objections in your presentation.
Yes.
So that's why it's important. That's why it's very important for me to follow up because number one, I want to find out why didn't you take advantage of the opportunity? No love lost. My feelings are not hurt, but it gives me content to speak to the objections that others may be having if they feel the same way.
Which goes right back to your first 2 points because you're having those follow-up calls, you're getting feedback about the potential objections, so now that becomes a tweak that you can make to the presentation, which is only beneficial if you're consistent about continuing to do the same webinar until it's converting the way you want it to convert.
Ta-da! That's right. Ta-da! Okay, I'm sorry.
We know, obviously, webinars require a lot automation. But if we think about your actual business,
Mhm.
where does automation fit in? How do you use automation to collect leads and convert sales and support your clients?
Okay, so let me tell you about a fun one that I just did. All right. I wasn't even thinking about this until you just said it, right? So here's a fun one that I did. So I did a post. If you want to learn how to monetize webinars, comment, monetize. And it was like on the colorful background on one of the social media platforms. No fancy graphic, nothing. Right. And so I posted and I said, if I get 30 people to comment monetize, I will do a special training. And I literally got 30 people to comment. Had 30 people to actually show up to the actual training. So you know what I did? I turned it into an ad.
Oh,
I
wow.
turned it into an ad and I used automation to automatically comment when they said monetize. And it sends them a DM that says, if you want to get access to the training, you have to send me your email address. I have literally been building my email address just off of that. And it says, listen, if you want to SMS opt in, give me your phone number. Cause you know I love a good phone number because you know I love to send out an SMS, right?
Right.
And so then it automatically registers them for the next training. That's a nugget. Y'all, somebody better use that nugget. Because, and here's the thing about it. A lot of times we think that we have to have a fancy process or a fancy image to create. Basically, I created a funnel off of a
Right.
post
Yes.
and it's all automated. Look at that. So
That nugget. Yeah, exactly. I love the simplicity and the impact because you're giving people no excuses idea. That initial
Right.
post was just a post. So everybody can do that, even if you don't yet have your whole system set up. But then once you have a system set up that can support that that kind of posting with an automatic trigger, they say this word, they automatically receive this in their DMs. That just increases the conversion rates exponentially. Are there any other types of automation that has had a real impact on your business?
Let's say for webinars first.
Mhm.
Business, yes. But for webinars, making sure that the reminders go out, the SMS reminders go out, post webinar reminders are going out. I've been able to build a community in our platform as well because of automation. So every person that registers for webinars or workshops are automatically added into our community. I have been really intentional about building a community. And so we've started to build a community based on using automation in the business when it comes to our webinars and our workshops. There's so many things that you can use in automation. And if you find yourself doing something 3 times, then we need to figure out how can we automate that. But the best thing for my business this year in regards to automation is an automated lead generate strategy. And that's the one I just shared. And it was an easy, like you said, it was simplistic. Like it was a simplistic process. And so that has been putting new people in my pipeline. And I really don't even have to work hard for it.
Uh, I know our listeners like that. She didn't have to work hard for it. So it was
Business,
like that.
building a business should not be hard. Like
Right.
that's what I tell people. Building a business should not be hard.
Yeah. Our listeners here on the Automated Coach podcast are action takers. So, what is one action you would encourage our listeners to take?
All right. So y'all ready for this? Dr. Denise, I don't know if your audience is gonna invite me back.
Hit them with it.
All right, let's go. So if you want a rapid cash injection into your business, I challenge you to do 8 webinars in 30 days.
In 30 days.
Challenge. And you have to remember, this is how I started my journey. Started my journey doing 8 webinars in 30 days, and I generated $15,000 in commission just by doing those 8 webinars. And I actually just had a client that came into the mastermind. She's like, who's with me? We're doing 8 webinars. We're going to do it. Let's do it. I'm like, yeah. And then I'm coming back saying, and here's the thing. You don't need a lot of people to make a lot of money. Okay. That's
a little bonus tip right there. Yeah.
That's another tip. She said she had 22 people, 10 showed. She closed 4. Some of them with a follow-up. And I think it was like a $3,000 or $3,500. She made $12,000. Put it that way.
Wow.
$12,000. So
yeah,
the system works
right. If you work
it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I tell them I said so. Yes. I love
that. I that's I'm sure that is a little scary to some of the folks listening, but she's telling you, going back to what we started with, she's telling you because she did it herself. So she's not making this up. This is not some chat GPT answer. This is
come on now.
Her lived experience, and
Right.
she's telling you, do what she did. So I would love for our listeners, if and when you try this strategy, come back and comment on this episode.
Please do.
About the impact it had for you.
Please do. Absolutely.
Well, I know that our listeners are going to want to stay in touch with you and ask their webinar questions of you. So where can our listeners follow you online?
So I spend most of my time on Facebook. So feel free, follow me, facebook.com/DeKesha. I love how you can actually search.
If people are just listening, could you spell your name so they can find it?
Absolutely. DeKesha. And it might be DE underscore on there, but it's DE. I tell you what, no, let me make this easy. You want to make this easy? Search the webinar queen. I'm telling you, if you search the webinar queen, I promise you, my name is going to show up. That's branding.
There you go. That was a little nugget for you. It's a nugget. Wonderful. And I don't know if you had something that you wanted to give away.
Yes, I do. I have a free gift. And so if you're looking at 3 ways to consistently generate leads or revenue in your business, I invite you to go to www.createconsistentleads.com. www.createconsistentleads.com. It's a very short training on 3 things that you need to do consistently in your business to generate leads and create revenue consistently in your business.
This has been such a great experience. I'm so glad you were able to join me on the Automated Coach podcast. I hope everybody listening takes advantage of this, takes her up on this challenge of doing 8 webinars in 30 days and lets us know the results. Make sure you're incorporating automation throughout that whole process so that you are working smarter, not harder. And that's it. We're going to wrap up this episode. Thank you again, DeKesha, and thank you all for listening.
Absolutely. Thank you.